And yes, indeed it is. What's up, world, and welcome to the first edition of the Take One SpoilerCast. I am Chris, and this is going to be a podcast solely based on spoilers. And what it is basically it's not going to be a weekly podcast, daily podcast, or anything like that. But it's just for movies or shows that I want to speak more deep in depth into and, give my thoughts, no filter about whatever it is. So whenever a big movie come out or, show or whatever, I'm going to maybe not, depending on what I have to say about it, I'm going to put out a Take One SpoilerCast, and that's the official name for it. And this first one is going to be about the Suicide Squad. And I have a lot to say about it. I mean, because it came out with a lot of controversy. As I've said plenty of times in my past, well, in my most recent podcast, the Take One podcast, which you can check it out. Everything is in the description below. You can go ahead and check out my thoughts, as well as I have my regular review on Suicide Squad. Just my thoughts on there, just filtered. So with no further ado, I'm about to go ahead and give you what my thoughts are. And so, as I said in my regular review, it's a lot of things I do like about this movie. I came out really not liking this film, though I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. I didn't get the enjoyment out of it like everyone else did. And if you did, I mean, that's cool with you. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong for your opinion. I'm not saying that you're right or whatever. Everyone has a right to their opinion. And I just came out and, the movie with my opinion being that this movie was not a good movie. And there were, some fun elements to it, but it really didn't grab me. And when you go into a movie, when you come out, it's all about, did the flaws or the pros outweigh the cons, or the cons outweigh the pros. And a lot of movies might have the same things and might have the same things wrong with it, and it depends on if they did, if all the stuff that was right about it, if that overweighs it. So you can have two movies with the same type of plot hole or whatever, and one movie could do certain other things right that makes it a little bit better, and the other one could do like the stuff that's wrong, and that can accentuate the plot hole. When the other one, when it did all the stuff right, it could make it a little bit better, so you can forgive that plot hole. And this movie did not do that for me. It's like the bad outweighed the good, and so I'm about to just run through the good parts of it. And so like I said in my previous review for it, I like Deadshot. He was one of the favorite characters in there, one of my favorite characters. And I like how they went into his story, so you got to know him, and he's more humanized than anything. That you understand, I guess you can say you can understand why he does what he do, or why he does what he does or whatever, and just like what type of person he is. Even though you see him as a bad guy, or he's advertised as a bad guy because he's in the Suicide Squad, it's like you understand that he is a good person. So essentially, when you really think about it, he's not really a bad guy. He's a good guy that does bad things. Because a bad guy would be like Joker, who just does stuff for the hell of it, just to see people get killed or do this and do that, without really no consciousness of what he's doing. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but at the same time, it's whatever. But you get that sense of Deadshot and how he is, and so it's I guess you can kind of get from the reason why he does his lifestyle is because of his daughter. Maybe his story goes back before that, more than likely before she was even born, he was doing this, but you can kind of get that he's doing what he's doing now for his daughter, and he only wants the best for her, and I kind of like that element about it. And as well as Harley Quinn, I like her character, and them breaking down who she is and kind of what she is, what she does or whatever. I mean, it's I'm more familiar with Harley Quinn only because back in the day I used to watch the Batman animated series, so I kind of knew her story, and even throughout the years I kind of knew more about her, so I'm more familiar with her, so that was kind of really no surprise. But as far as I like her character, I mean, she was actually a cool character. I didn't dislike her or nothing like that. And I just kind of like that story arc with her and Joker with the flashbacks. It's like I wish they would have had more about that, but I did enjoy it. And so, as well as I like Captain Boomerang and how he was. I wish we could have got a little bit more of him, but it is what it is. As well as Rick Flag, I like his story with Enchantress and how like their relationship was. I wish we could have got more of that. That way we would have had more of an emotional connection to their relationship and why he does what he do. I mean, you got it a little bit, but it wasn't. It didn't really grab you as like you were rooting for Rick Flag. But anyway, as well as Diablo, I love his character towards like the end or whatever, and how he turned into this big flame monster and all that stuff. That was actually pretty badass. And even just his story of like why he wasn't trying to use his powers no more, and him killing his family and stuff. And so I'm like, that was actually pretty, I ain't gonna say pretty cool, because that's kind of sad, but I actually did like that. As well as Amanda Waller, I thought Viola Davis did extremely well with this character. You basically came out this movie, even just going into this movie knowing Amanda Waller, you go into there hating this character, but I guess you could say hating to love this character, because she played that role so good that it's like she's one of them characters, just like Ben Affleck was with Bruce Wayne. You want to see more of that. You want to see. I hope that they do make another Suicide Squad. Put aside how I felt about the movie, I felt like it had potential. But if they do make another Suicide Squad movie, which they kind of do have plans to do, but it's not official. I mean, it's like people wanting to do it. That they, I hope that they end up officially announcing it, and it ends up coming out within the next like 2 years. I say like that, and I would love to see her play Amanda Waller again. And as well as I like the light tone. Some of the humor was like entertaining. I wasn't laughing too much about it, but and I love the things with Batman. And the thing is like I love seeing Batman in it. I love seeing that, because it's kind of like it's a new feel for Batman, especially with him and Deadshot. It's like I would love to see that. Now I know that Ben Affleck is penning a new Batman movie, and I guess they're trying to go for the Arkham Asylum type storyline, where Batman is locked inside of like Arkham Asylum, or just whatever, but he's trying to put these like villains back into their cells and all that stuff. And like that's cool and all, but it's like I feel like to start it off, you kind of need to go up with like a little small story, because with Batman v Superman, they didn't try to go big. Even with Suicide Squad, they tried to go big. They just need to do something small. Even with as simple as Man of Steel storyline was, they still went big. This one, they just kind of need to go smaller, and I think with Batman, you don't need to do whole city destructions or nothing like that. Just do something small. And I just kind of like, I love those scenes with him and the Joker, because it's like, it's kind of, even though we've already seen him and the Joker, numerous of times, it's like it just was something different, with these scenes, especially with Deadshot. So I hope they bring Deadshot into the Batman solo film, because I would love to see that mashup. As well as if you can bring Deathstroke, that would be fucking awesome. That'd be fucking awesome. And then the music I liked for it. One of my favorite scenes was the group scene of when they were talking all this stuff, and just trying to get themselves back into the game after I guess you feel like they failed the mission, and this and that. So they're just trying to take a break, take a breather, relax for a minute before they get back into the swing of things. And I love that scene, just how like the connection that they have between each other. And I've said this all in my other reviews, so I'm not about to recap what I've said, but it's basically I enjoyed that. And then the end fight scene, I had no problem with it, because it wasn't the best, but it was good enough for me. It was good enough to where you had like an actual fight, where it wasn't just, oh, well, bam, we hit this switch and she blow up and bam, bam, bam. It was like they actually fought Enchantress. She actually was going around like swinging and fighting and stuff. Even though it was kind of dark, but still at the same time, I enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. And I believe that's like the end of my likes. If I could think of more likes, I might come back to it. I'm not trying to make this spoiler cast too long, but I'm gonna get to the dislikes and just the stuff that I just really did not like about it, and it's a lot. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a lot. But to me, it's like the movie moved too fast. It's like almost at the beginning, like hold on, before I even get into that, moving too fast, I'm gonna just say that one of the things that I did not like about it is how they didn't have the balance of characters. Now, I've said it before that that's one thing that I do like about ensemble pieces with like a whole bunch of characters. It's like not only would they personalities clash and the chemistry between them, whether it be good or bad or whatever, just how they play off each other, but just how they're written and and just how they're balanced. Like, do each person get like equal amount of time, or if some get more than others, do the other ones that have less time, do they get enough time to where it feels like it's a lot of time? And with that, I feel like Avengers did that really good, and even like Guardians of the Galaxy did that good. But with this one, it was like our main focus was Harley Quinn. Our main focus was Deadshot. Our main, and it's just, you have like about, what is it, like 8 or 9 people in the Suicide Squad, and you only focus on what, like 2, 3 out of like the 8 of them? It's like, come on, like, that was blatant. Like, yeah, like everyone's favorite color, favorite character. Oh yeah, I love Harley. Yeah, I love Deadshot. But at the same time, that's all we was really getting. So of course you're gonna love these characters because they had that character development. They had that emotional feel, that emotional backstory or whatever, so you understood them. We're not gonna be like, oh, Captain Boomerang stole the show, because he really didn't have too much. Or Killer Croc, yeah, man, I love that character, when he really didn't do anything. It's like, it's hard to love all these characters if you can't balance, the time that you give to these characters. And it was really blatant from the beginning of the movie when, you start off with like Harley Quinn's backstory and Deadshot's backstory, and you're taking like 5 minutes to tell their backstories, or get like them like a clip each, 5 minutes each, and then everyone else you give them like 40 seconds, and then after that, after like, I think it was, what was it? I think it was Deadshot first. And it was like, once his stuff ended, I'm like, that was kind of long. And then Harley Quinn, and then hers went long, like just as long. And I'm like, are they going to do this for every single member of the Suicide Squad? Because there's a lot of them. I can see if it was 3, then, okay, cool. But there's a lot of people in the Suicide Squad. Are you going to go through their backstories and bios or whatever like this long? Because if you do, this is going to take up like half, like at least a quarter of the movie. And once after Harley Quinn, it was like they just gave a little bit of time. And I'm like, what? That's favorism like a month? That really didn't sit right with me. And I just hate how they did that. I mean, you could have gave favoritism towards Harley and, Deadshot, but at the same time, at least give a little bit more to the other characters. And I just kind of like hated that. I really did. And I felt like that was, I don't know. I felt like that just didn't sit right with me. I don't know about anyone else, but that, to me, that just kind of threw me out the movie. I'm just, even just in the beginning, I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. And like, even with that, with them taking that so much time talking about Harley Quinn and Deadshot and their backstories and this and that, it was like, after a while, they couldn't help but to jump into like the story. I feel like they could have had a longer setup for the story, and they didn't. I think it was like 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes into the film before it actually, the bad guy, or, Enchantress, let me just say, before Enchantress actually started her plan to, I don't know, that's another problem. What the fuck was she doing? Like, really, what was she doing? And it just, it took a little bit of time just for her to get into that, and it was like there was no major setup, and it was just certain stuff that was missing, that if they would have fixed this and put that in and, just kind of extended that setup, which it was supposed to be a setup in the beginning, then that probably would have been so much better. Cut Deadshot's story down a little bit. Cut, Harley Quinn's story down a little bit. And you could have, like, had room to talk about these other people, and it was just, okay, okay. And that really just didn't sit right with me. And then not only did it move into I guess you could say action too fast, but in the same sense, it moved into it too fast, but they were moving too slow. Like I said in my review, in my regular review, is that it was certain scenes where it was like stuff was happening where like they tearing down the whole city, but yet at the same time, they're taking their time trying to get ready, trying to do this. Like, we need people right then and there. Like, you're not sending people in there right now. I mean, yeah, the Suicide Squad, yeah, you have to get them ready because you had an idea to get this started, but it's like they just moved too slow for certain stuff. And it was just that beginning when the city was getting torn apart by Enchantress and all the little putty men or mud people that she was making. And even like the scene where they was about to save, like even the regroup scene when they were about to save Amanda Waller, it was like I didn't get that part because, okay, first of all, let me say, like, the whole thing with them regrouping and taking their time to save Amanda Waller. They're taking their time while Enchantress has her. And then on top of that, why didn't Enchantress kill her? She had no reason to keep Amanda Waller alive. No reason at all. No reason. Amanda Waller is the one who basically, I guess you could say, imprisoned her. Had her heart, and every time she didn't do what she said, she would stab the heart, poke it, do this and that. And and she's just this ruthless person. So why are you keeping her alive? This is your payback. Like, they basically kind of set it up to where, she was gonna get her comeuppance. And it's like you couldn't, I don't know, like, it was just, you didn't want to kill her. Like, if I was in her position and that was me, I definitely would want to get my payback. I'd be like poking her, keeping her alive, stabbing her, this and that, heal it up, stab her again. I'd be doing stuff like that, and she didn't even do it. She kept her alive for what reason? It really wasn't clear. Then on top of that, yeah, like I said, it had a whole bunch of missing scenes. But one thing that I did notice that I've heard before about them talking about metahumans in the Suicide Squad was that there is really only about 3 metahumans, I guess you can say. I mean, you have Diablo, you have Killer Croc, and then you have Enchantress, who really wasn't part of the Suicide Squad, but everyone else really didn't have no powers. They had special skills, but really didn't have no powers. But then on top of that, it's like, it kind of got me thinking, like, why in the hell were these specific people picked for the Suicide Squad? Because right now, even though Flash, I guess you could say, is relatively just started, but how he uses his power and got his suit already, you would think that he's been in the game for at least about a year or something. So he's been putting villains away and all that stuff, and you get I wouldn't even say Superman, because, like, in a sense, he kind of just started, but he may have put some people, some big villains, maybe not like no Brainiac or nothing like that, but, at least some big name villains that, Superman has came across. He's put them away. And Batman has been doing this for, 20-something years? It's like he's put away multiple people, so it's like, there has got to be some more powerful villains that they could have picked from, because somebody tell me why Harley Quinn was picked. That makes no sense. I can understand Deadshot because he's vital. He never misses. He is a great shot. He never misses. Killer Croc, I can see. Diablo, I can see. Slipknot, why? Because he can climb walls? You can get anybody. More than likely them SEALs that they was riding with. They probably could come up with a device that can have them climb anything. Like, why was he picked? And am I forgetting somebody? Katana. Katana, I get why she was with there. In a sense, she wasn't really a part of the Suicide Squad. Her and Rick Flag wasn't a part of the Suicide Squad. She was just there to watch his back, which they really didn't, like, they didn't really establish, were they friends beforehand? does he know her personally? Like, has he hung out with her before? Maybe that's his best friend or something. Like, because in a sense, like, I never got her being his bodyguard. Yeah, it was that one time where Deadshot was walking behind him, looking at the people in the city that got transformed, and she kind of like pulled out her sword a little bit. But other than that, I never got the sense of her actually being like his protector or, you know, helping her out. Maybe it's certain scenes that I'm forgetting, but I never really got that full scene. And then that just shows that it wasn't that prevalent to where it'd be like stained in my memory that I can easily come up with something like that. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff that didn't really get established in this movie. And that was like one of them. And it's just, I don't understand why these specific people were chosen. I mean, there are other villains that you probably could have picked out. I mean, Captain Boomerang, that's debatable. It's debatable. But it's certain people, I don't know why they got picked, why these specific people got picked. But it is whatever. I guess they wanted to play around with certain people, and I guess they thought that these people was going to interact with each other so well. I don't know. But yeah, what else? Yeah, the villain, Enchantress. I mean, you kind of got that from the trailer, because in anything that you saw with the Suicide Squad, besides like posters and stuff, you never seen her walking with the Suicide Squad. You never saw them side by side or nothing like that. You always saw her separate or something like that. So you can kind of get that she wasn't a part of the Suicide Squad, that she's more than likely the villain. So that was a no-brainer. But don't get me wrong. I mean, everyone is going crazy over Margot Robbie. Cool. She is sexy, whatever. But Cara Delevingne, or Delevingne, or however you want to pronounce her name, she is sexy as hell to me. And that was one of the reasons why I was looking forward to seeing this movie, because she's just sexy as fuck. Just sexy. And even as Enchantress, she's just, But anyway, her as the villain, no. I didn't like how they portrayed her. I didn't like that. Like, I can't speak on as comic books or whatever. Like, I don't read comic books and nothing like that. I'm not familiar with Enchantress before this. So I can't be like, oh, they didn't do her justice. Like, she's a comic book. She's like this and like that. No, it was just that, she was just, the way they used her, especially towards the end, with giving her that other voice. And, just talking godly, I guess you can say. I didn't like. I really didn't like. It took me out. And then on top of that, like, I know a lot of people was making fun of this. I watched Collider Movie Talk, and they were doing something when they was giving their non-spoiler review. And John Campea did this, like, movement. Just kind of like a belly dancer or something like that. And I'm like, what the heck? And then he really didn't say too much about it or whatever. But once I saw the movie and I saw the way, when she was talking and how she was moving and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's what the hell he was talking about. And it really stood out. Like, why does she have to move like that every time that she talks? Like, why? It didn't make any sense. Like, that type of stuff takes you out the movie. Like, it just, and then the whole mission with, Amanda Waller. Now, I get, like, she was she's a selfish person. She's an a-hole, a bitch, whatever you want to call her. She's a badass, whatever. So I get her, sending a squad to come protect her, come pick her up and all that stuff. But yet, at the same time, I don't care how selfish you is. You work for, like, the U.S. government, and you work with a branch or whoever, but you work essentially with the government or for the government. You work for them. So there is this thing, this city is getting torn apart. People are getting turned into mud people, or like frozen dookie people, or, just like dried up dookie people. And that's what they are. They dried up dookie people. They're getting turned into dried up dookie people. And your main goal is for them to come and get you? Why wouldn't you split, like, at least half the group up? Like, have some people come save you and some people gonna get that. And I get, like, probably not, because, they're bad guys. That's what they do. They probably might escape. Some people, I mean, because, like, who else you gonna, send them with? Because maybe katana, I don't know. But anyway, it's like, so your main goal is to save you, but let a city get destroyed. I just did not get that. I don't care how selfish you are. You work for the U.S. government. Even if you don't care about the city getting destroyed or torn up or whatever, they're gonna care. So they're gonna send they're gonna basically make them save this. And that's where it comes in. It was like the Suicide Squad, like, you wouldn't really think that they would be possible or, capable in protecting or stopping Enchantress because she's powerful. That, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff about this movie that's frustrating. As well as, when you think about it, in this time frame, this happened after Batman v Superman. Right now, you have the Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And I wouldn't even say like Aquaman yet or like Cyborg, but you have those three right now. Since Superman is quote unquote dead, it's like, well, if you haven't seen Batman v Superman, I don't know why you watched this movie because it gave it away. And if you didn't catch that, then it's like, whatever. This is a spoiler cast, unfiltered. But in any case, it's like, when you have a world where you have these superheroes in it, why didn't Batman come here to this city and find out? Maybe they kept it under wraps, but it's hard to believe that they can keep a whole city being like torn to shreds by some like monster, by some monster or whatever, and no one knows about it. The other world, like the outside world, don't know about it, especially in America. It just didn't sit right with me. You would think Batman would at least try, or the Flash would have heard about it and, trying to run over there. And since Wonder Woman is, this woman who wants to, fight all the time, you would think that they would hear about this and even intervene or something like that. But it's like, it just didn't, it didn't sit right. Like, why didn't Batman and Flash get involved? Even though they're not connected together, where like Flash, they're not on Justice League yet. Maybe Flash heard about it and like, oh, I could get there in like 2.4 gigawatts. No, I'm just playing. But, I can get there in like 5 minutes and just run, and Batman be like, oh, get something from Alfred and, oh, this city is getting torn apart, blah, blah, blah. And just go. I think that it's like, why didn't, I don't know. It's just, this is the reasons why I don't like this movie. Now, you can say that a lot of this stuff is nitpicking. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. Because when you think about it, a lot of this stuff, it makes sense. And then on top of that, it's just, this movie, that's why I said this movie just tried to go bigger than what they should have done with it. Like, this movie went big and it should have been a small contained movie. Instead of having like a world-ending thing with Enchantress, they should have had something to where like it was involving the Joker. It was like Harley and Joker had a plan to break her out or something. Even though that did happen throughout the movie, maybe it had something to do more with the Suicide Squad and him being more involved in what they're doing rather than just popping in and out like Jason Statham in Furious 7. It's crazy. Like, I just didn't like that. They just tried to go so big and they should have just kept it small. Like, if they would have kept it like smaller, that probably would have been extremely better. It probably would have been so much better. But they just tried to go so big with it. And speaking of Joker, that was one of the elements that I wasn't going to Google over everyone else. I've seen this movie twice, and everyone is going crazy. Oh, Joker, this and that. Joker, like, Joker, one of the best parts. I didn't really get a kick out of Joker. And one of the things that I've said before, I believe I said it in my regular review, and I've said it to like different people, is that when you first meet the Joker in The Dark Knight, that's the Joker. You get automatically that first scene is set up for what this guy is about. When I saw Jared Leto as the Joker in this movie, I really didn't get the sense of a Joker. I just got that he was like a mobster guy where he was just kind of out there. He was just a regular guy, just kind of weird. I didn't really get that he was the Joker. I really didn't get that. Now, give it to, DC's give it to DC that, like, we haven't had that much time with this specific Joker. That it's not like, all, where where he had time to give us who he is. But at the same time, it's like, it's supposed to set it off. At least the first or second scene, you should be able to get that vibe that this is the Joker. I didn't get that vibe. I wasn't too entertained by him. He reminds me of like Jim Carrey. Just like literally, if you see this movie again, listen to his voice. He sounds like Jim Carrey. He's like, what do we have here? Or, it really didn't do nothing for me. Now, once I see him in the Batman movie, which we all know he's going to be in the Batman movie, or, whenever next time he show up. Now, if there's more scenes with Joker that's not taken out the movie, then maybe he'll start to rub off on me. No homo. But maybe he started to rub off on me that, like, okay, this is the Joker. But as of right now, I'm not impressed by his portrayal of the Joker. I'm just really not. I mean, I probably could be in the minority, which I probably am, but I just wasn't impressed by him. And, yeah, like, just this whole movie was just kind of a mess. And, you've heard it beforehand. I've heard it beforehand. And I just really thought that I was going to go into this movie thinking like, even though, yeah, it had this wrong with it, I enjoyed myself. The humor a lot of times didn't work for me. There's a lot of things that, I did kind of laugh, chuckle a little bit. But overall, it was not fun for me. I went to this movie and I've mentioned it in my review that I literally wanted to leave. I really did. Once they got to the part where they had to go rescue Amanda Waller, I'm looking at my watch like, okay, is this movie about to be over? It just seemed longer than what it was supposed to be. There was nothing happening through the movie. And the thing is, it's like, when you think about it, or at least, I don't know if this is with anyone else, but this is with me. When I think about it, when you think of Batman v Superman, that's not really a good example. But if you think about Captain America Civil War, and you think about the fights in there, you can probably pull 3 to 4 memorable fights or memorable action scenes out of your ass and be like, that was good, that was good, that was good. In this movie, I can't do that. I can maybe put out like, yeah, the scene where Deadshot was just shooting all the drag poop people and whatever, and he was just bam, 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 doing that. It was like, that was kind of like a good action scene. But other than that, it was like the ending wasn't even spectacular, So it was like this movie was just filled with a lot of action, but not memorable action. Like, I left the movie like, damn, did anything happen in this movie? And when I saw Captain America Civil War, I'm recalling back to like, oh, that was good. That was a good scene. That was a good scene. That was a great scene, and this and that. But this is like, it really didn't have anything happening, or nothing impressive to me to where I'm leaving the theater like, man, this movie was so good. It really didn't have that. And yeah, if there's anything else, yeah, I mean, this movie, they could have done a lot better with this movie. This movie could have been the beginning point of the DC good movies. Hopefully Wonder Woman and Justice League is good, but it's like, as far as right now, I'm just kind of not impressed. I mean, and it's not me going against DC, because I've explained it before up in my podcast that I love Man of Steel. And Batman v Superman, I liked that movie. I didn't love it, I liked it. Even though it had a gang of problems. Even more problems than this movie. And this movie, I just did not like it. I guess it was like Batman v Superman kind of like spoiled it for me. And it just kind of like was like, this is unacceptable, so these are my standards. And then now it's like Suicide Squad kind of fell for them same type of like mistakes and problems that it was like, okay, well, I accepted it from them, but I can't accept it from you, so it's just, this whole movie was a mess. I didn't hate it. I don't think that it's the worst movie ever. I don't think it's the best movie ever. I don't think it's as good as everyone else says it is. I may be in the minorities with the critics or whatever, but I mean, I feel like I've explained myself of why. You might think that a lot of them are nitpicks, which some of them probably are, and majority of it is just, like hardcore, real life, negativity of the movie, and I don't care if that was bad grammar. I don't care, but I don't like a lot of that is just legitimate claims of just negative thoughts that I had about the movie, of like what it did, the mistakes and everything about that. And it's just, I feel like this movie has so much potential. This movie could have been good, but it just failed. And that's what's just kind of like disappointing about this movie. So hopefully, like, Wonder Woman is so much better. Hopefully, and Justice League is incredible, because DC needs a win, and right now they're struggling. They might be making the money, but critically, how long can you keep going making these movies that critically is bad but financially good? You know, after a while, it's going to have to hit you. Like, we're going to have to make them financially good, but we're going to have to make them critically good as well. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I ain't going to talk too much longer, but that's just my deep in-depth thoughts to Suicide Squad and just what I thought about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first ever Take One spoiler cast. Let me know how I did. Let me know if you agree with what I said. If you disagree, whatever, put it in the comment section below. Go ahead and like this video, share it, you know, with the people that you know, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, Take One Entertainment Reviews. Go ahead and I have other stuff coming on. I'm gonna be doing the Stranger Things. Wow, that's a totally different movie. I'm gonna be doing a Stranger Things review. It's gonna be coming out soon. And I got a couple other things that's coming out, so go ahead and subscribe. That way you can get and turn your notifications on too. That way you can get notified when I drop this new stuff, and and all that good stuff, and blah blah, and anything else. As well as follow me on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on and so forth. Everything is in the description below. Like I said, watch out for my other videos, and I think I can just end it off on that note. Thank you guys for checking this Suicide Squad Take One SpoilerCast, and the next one, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing on the next one, but yeah, just I'm gonna keep you informed or whatever, social medias and everything. So yeah, that's about it. So I will catch you guys later. Until next time.